How we doing, folks? It is your boy Marcos. Weekend challenges, GoldenEye on that 00 agent. It's a walkthrough, it's a let's play, so let's have some fun playing some GoldenEye, man. I like to diversify my channel with different games, you know. Don't want to strictly just be Call of Duty all the time, so figured on the weekends, and you know, maybe I'll sprinkle them in during the week as well, depending on what game we do next. Diversify a little bit, throw on some different gameplays, and you know, reminisce a little bit from the old days. And if you guys are playing through for the first time and whatnot, you know, make sure you check this out. It's a pretty good walkthrough. It'll get you through everything you need to do, and it's, you know, it's realistic. I'm not no professional at games, you know. I'm not, you know, no standout dude. I figure I'm good at them, but nothing crazy. So you know, we have our challenges, and you can see how I've resolved them. So it's an interesting dynamic right here, and you've been great. You guys have been great giving me the support throughout this, so I really appreciate that, man. Everybody who's been watching this, and look at my man, do the barrel roll. I feel you, man. That is the one N64 technique. You know, in Black Ops 2, how I always say that just do circles around people and you end up killing them at some point. Well, the N64 was do a barrel roll, and at some point you will do well. So this is the Surface, Part 2. We already came out here. I'll make sure I edit below Part 1, which is a much nicer, clearer day. And this is all dark and, you know, infiltrating at night without them knowing, even though everybody knows that you're here apparently, because they're all waiting for you. And look at that, how bad I missed something. Nothing that little camera C button movement can't solve. A little strafe to the side. If you don't use that, man, get using it, man. It just comes so in handy. Just using those C buttons to come up and down. I guess if you're playing this on an emulator or something, that'd be different for you. But if you play it on the N64, use those C buttons, man. Strafe side from side. These guys cannot keep up with you. So Surface is the first stage that you revisit. And I talked about it a little in the Surface Part 1. About the dynamic of, you know, nostalgia. So this really kicks in when you come back here, because all of a sudden, you know, it's darker. There's new stuff, there's new places, and you're like, oh, all right. So they've been like working on this, you know. I noticed when I was a kid, I didn't really understand. Look at that! Can't believe that camera saw me, yo. I mean, be extremely careful. I didn't think I was in that thing's lines of sight at all, but clearly I was. Get my man over here with the double clobs. I'm like, all right, let me get this out right now. Boom. Clob is probably, I think, one of the worst guns in the game. I think it's pretty standard. That's not one of the good guns in the game. It just looks strange, man. I don't know. I don't really appreciate it. I don't know what gun this is supposed to be in real life either, because they're all, you know, they're all based on real life guns. They just don't want to pay the licenses. But I don't know what gun the Clob is. Maybe jot that down below. I'm not a gun expert either, so I mean, I'm not surprised. I don't know, but I mean, at least I know the KF7. I think it's supposed to be an AK-47. So just to play on words right there. Look at this guy. I'm like, dude, I don't even got a gun, man. Why are you shooting me? I'm just walking peacefully through Severnaya. Leave me alone. And it's interesting too, because this is like kind of the first time that, I mean, you can notice that there's differences obviously between the game and the movie. But this is the first time where I was like, man, I don't remember Bond going to Severnaya and shutting down and blowing up this thing. Armorov destroyed this thing. And look at this. It's a good. I watched the movie recently, so I'm fairly clear on how the movie goes. I like how this is supposed to be, you know, where like Boris and Natalia worked, and this place is empty. And look at this dude. He pushes me in here, and I'm like, oh no, it is on. But I like how this is supposed to be, you know, that satellite dish where they're on, and there's absolutely nothing here. It's great. But you know what the game lacks in those kind of you know, graphical, shall we say, or environmental features, it makes up with the what I'm looking for right here, the archives, the you know, the mission briefings. There we go, the mission briefings that we get at the beginning of the stage. I skip over them just because I don't want to bore these guys while me reading. But when you play the game, definitely make sure you read them, man. Moneypenny's always got some quirkiness, and the missions really give you a full and vivid description of what you're doing, even though graphically they couldn't put it in because of the system's limitations. And also, to tell you the truth, I don't think if they even put in, like, if that satellite dish were that much like cleaner and fuller and better looking, I'm not sure that would be good for the game, you know. I think with GoldenEye and these older games, it's kind of that feeling that you have to add your own part of the imagination. There's two things that I really aren't a big fan of when it comes to modern gaming. One of them is holding your hand tutorial. So the fact that every time you play a game, you got like like Assassin's Creed 3, that was horrible, son. That was like the intro was like a 3-hour tutorial of like, all right, bro, let's catch up right here on everything you need to know. And you know, modern games do that. And I understand there's a cool part of it, you know, the fact that they teach you what you need to know. Okay, that's fine, yeah, and they teach you in an active way. So it'd obviously be worse if they just like put you on a screen. They're like, hit B to jump and hit A to slash, and you're like, oh boy. The fact that they do it as you're going is a decent enough way to camouflage it. But ain't no one tell you how to play GoldenEye, son. Like, there was no intro screen. You go to my first stage, the dam. Nobody sat there and was like, hold R to aim and Z to shoot. Nah, bro. It was like, alright, you want to play GoldenEye? Figure it out. I'm sure you're smart enough. And I think, and in all fairness, there are people that probably need it. So that's why they have it there. I'd make it more of an option. If you want to have a tutorial, go ahead. If you don't, don't. And I'm sure most people on the first try will. But on the second and third try, it really gets annoying playing through that whole tutorial all over again. A game like Metal Gear, which I started playing recently again. There's no tutorial there. Ain't nobody teaching you how to do nothing there. Eventually, the codec will interrupt if they see that you're in trouble. But there's no tutorial there. I think that's good. So that's one fact that I don't like about, you know, in modern games, something that's been added. And the second is, they really don't leave that much for your imagination. There's really nothing that you have to kind of like imagine. Everything, you know, and that's part of the graphical power we have. Everything can be made. So, you know, let me pull out a game like even like Skyrim, for example, which I haven't played much, but there's so much in that game. There's really nothing really left for the imagination, you know. There's no rooms that you kind of walk into and you're like, huh, this looks kind of empty. You know, Zelda, when you used to like go in and like destroy people's houses and break their pots, that was entertaining, man. Now it's like, not so much. And say they were GoldenEye, you know, if that satellite dish were full of like beautiful equipment and looked fancy, and you'd be like, oh, alright, it's the movie. Now it's like, oh, look how cheesy this thing is, look how funny it is. So it adds a little bit of humor to it, but also leaves some room to the imagination. And look at this. Who would have thought that coming in through the front door would have gotten me arrested? Come on, man. We're going to the bunker next week. Some say one of the hardest stages in the game. I say it's a wrap.